You are blinded by your horse.
I don't have you money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
Fancy buying something?
You never... Right then. Sure.
taste of this!
Shit, that leech is fast!
Die! Take a breath of this! No!
Please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
to see if this Christina...
Mr. Bates.
Evening, Doctor.
Have you heard anything?
Not really.
A man such as yourself, knee-deep in the muck of Whitechapel.
Heard it closed after the owners died. Refugees don't want to come to Whitechapel no more. Scared, I hear.
You sound disappointed.
As long as she was there at the dispensary, it attracted more immigrants and kept my place full. Such a shame.
Why am I not...
Maybe it's because you lack faith. Being a skeptic must be useful for a man of science.
Goodbye.
I should never have taken up my...
Something going on in this district. Good evening, Doc.
Have you any new...
It appears the dispensary is...
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening.
Change your...
Could this be the scarf you lost, Miss Popper?
It is much more than a scarf to me. It is the only thing that connects me to my family and my country. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, Miss. Good evening.
Shane.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of you.
You still want more from Christina?
When we spent the night together, my wallet went missing.
Are you calling me a thief? I don't have your stupid wallet.
I know you. You're a nice girl. Can't we solve this amicably?
No, I don't think so. And if you think you know me just because we shared the bed together, you're just a lousy and arrogant journalist.
It's locked, all right.
Good evening, Doctor.
Tell me, Clayton, do you really think this young woman stole your wallet?
Christina? Yes. I recently met her. A nice girl, despite her questionable conduct.
If you are going to sleep with a lady of the night, Clayton, I would advise you to be cautious.
I can't really be mad at her, though. She's just trying to survive. She doesn't have many options.
How exactly did you meet Christina?
During my investigation, I offered my hotel room to her to rest and get away from the street.
And what happened?
The next morning, my wallet and my watch had disappeared. I suppose that's what you get for being a good Samaritan.
Was it wise to become so intimate with a woman you were supposed to interview, Clayton?
Maybe it was. But I have learned to look for the inner truth and beauty in people.
You're right. I know little of your situation. What can you tell me about Christina?
She is very sensitive. So nostalgic about her country. I saw her cry once because she'd lost a precious souvenir from her homeland.
What was it?
A scarf her brother gave her before she came...
Goodbye.
I'm cheap and I'm clean.
Good evening.
Change your...
Did you steal Clayton Darby's wallet? Tell me the truth, Christina.
Of course I stole it. But I never thought he would come back to look for it.
Why did you do it?
For a time I thought he was different from other men. In the end, he just wanted to sleep with me. Same as the others.
Perhaps Clayton is different. Maybe you two should talk. A conversation couldn't hurt.
I know what I am and what people call me. I sleep with men for money.
The ones you love. The money you stole is not for you.
My brother is still in our hometown in Romania. I am the only one who can buy him a ticket to England.
Tell me, Christina, is it worth risking your health and your life for your brother's safety?
He's the only family I have left. I had to leave Romania without him. I can't be happy until he is near me again.
I understand your concern. I spent many months away from my family when I served on the front line.
Every time I write to him, I fear I won't receive an answer. It kills me to know he is still there.
England is perhaps not the best place in the world to live at the present time. Are you certain it's worth the...
You think you know it all because you fought in the war. But my brother is no soldier.
I know. We all understand the risks to soldiers. But we don't necessarily recognize the civilian casualties caused by these conflicts.
Yes. Wars are decided by rich men who will never take the risk of being shot, raped, or maimed.
Does your brother know what you do to earn the money to bring him here?
Don't be simple, of course not. And he must never know. Everything will be different once he is here with me.
You are a tough woman, Miss Popper. I admire that.
Each time I was going to give up, I would look at that scarf my brother gave me. It gave me enough strength for another day. And then, I lost it.
Goodbye.
is no protection against malevolence and trickery.
You pay for peace.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way. Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So, may I...
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine. I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could...
Speaking of which...
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things.
So that's why you stay at home all day?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the live...
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What
I
happened?
was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's action.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Do you remember when Barrett Lewis was close to your family? To your mother?
Not really. I was too young. But I remember it was a happier time. Mr. Lewis was funny. He often had dinner with us.
Why are you sad then?
Because it hurts to remember a time when my father used to laugh and smile. It hurts to realise he's as sad as me now.
How was he towards you?
He was nice, I guess. He never forgot my birthday. He always offered me books. I liked books.
Have you any recent news of Nurse Crane and her...
Nobody dares to enter the dispensary now. Rumours say the nurse has gone mad.
Do you need any med...
Yes, I do.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this.
Goodbye, young man.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right.
Suffering in this world.
You're late. Where's my money?
So you only hurt people because you care about me? Is that it?
Don't be such a brat. I'll do what I must to provide us with food and medicine, that's all.
Mum would never have let you bully an old friend like Mr. Lewis. Shame on you.
Harry, I'm your father and I love you. But don't you ever speak to me like that again.
What? You're gonna beat me too?
Jesus. Give me patience.
They must be too busy to answer.
You again? What do you want this time?
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little.
Why is your relationship with your son so difficult?
Harry and I are so different. Sometimes I wonder if he's my own blood. Seems he's ashamed to be my son.
Why not change that then? If you used your strength to do good, perhaps Harry wouldn't feel that way about you.
How dare you tell me what I should or shouldn't do with my boy? Who the fuck are you to interfere like that?
I mean no harm to your family. But if you want my advice, this is no place to raise a child.
No matter where we live, Harry will always be sick and frail. At least here, I'm respected. And no one will ever dare touch him.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. And people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak. And there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Have you recent news?
I saw her wandering the streets. Yesterday, I think. She didn't recognize...
Goodbye. Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So,
I'm not
you and your father have a difficult relationship, Harry. Tell me, did he ever hurt you?
No, never. My father can be brutal and rude, violent even. But he never touched an hair on my head.
What is going on between you two, then?
It's his job, if you can call it a job. He bullies people. Men and women we know, like poor Mr. Lewis. It's just not right.
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job?
Can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Goodbye, young man.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Distribute flowers this
This district seems to get uglier every year.
Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help?
I'm afraid no.
You don't see...
Always.
I will... A gun... Good evening.
I get up.
What do you plan to do now that Nurse Crane is gone?
I'm not sure. Strange men came to see me after Dorothea's death, with strange weapons and very odd stories.
What kind of stories?
Stories all Romanian children know. It was as if I was home again.
You believe them? Aren't you too old to hold a weapon or listen to scary stories?
Yes, I am old and alone and will die soon, but if these stories are true, maybe I have found myself another cause.
Are you living on the streets, Mr. Petrescu?
And why not? Those who believe they'll be safe behind walls are blind.
What about your house?
My house is always open to any poor soul needing a roof. All my work here is lost now that Dorothea is gone, thanks to you.
Why are you so aggressive?
I remember the night you came here and convinced me to open my door to you.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leave.
I heard what happened to Nurse Crane. How do you feel, Mr.
Everything was going well until you arrived. Dorothea helped people and will be sorely missed.
I regret it too. I wish she'd continued working at the Pembroke Hospital.
So you put an end to the operation. Did you put an end to Dorothea as well?
You seem to have a lot on your chest, sir. What's wrong?
I heard you are a famous surgeon. Tell me, what did you do to Dorothea? She was so bright, so clever. Then you made her an empty shell.
I didn't use drugs or medical trickery, Mr. Petrescu. All I did was talk to Nurse Crane. I promise you.
But what happened to her then? After you left, she did not even recognize me. Then she got careless and sick, and I had to flee.
Tell me... Goodbye.
Eve.
Goodbye.
Good evening.
Have you any new...
It seems...
I'd like to see what kind... Good evening.
I'm afraid...
You don't seem...
Oh...
I can try to help your body.
The war destroyed.
Have you...
Not recent.
A gun, alcohol. It's locked.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
It's a leech! Kill it! There's one of them vermin!
I'm sure Albert would like to know he's been accepted by the Wet Boot Boys.
Sir, no civilians allowed. Turn around, sir.
He's dead! There's one of them vermin!
Remorse and pain are precious when binding you to the earth. You. I remember you. Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
Riddles and rhymes. You took my life. Now you insult my mind.
Be stilled, my child. I bring understanding.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has...
Yes, nurse.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
Goodbye now. Good evening, Mr.
Evening.
Soldier.
I'm fine.
Goodbye.
Jonathan, my sincere condolences.
Your kindness.
Is there anything...
Are we condemned to attend the funerals of all we love?
Dying is the final act of life, Jonathan. Present company excluded. Accepted.
As a practitioner of the medical sciences, I'm prepared for the death of loved ones.
We are no longer a part of the circle of life and death. We are undead, my friend.
I don't know what to expect. Am I cursed to an eternity of solitude?
With time, we Ekon tend to go into isolation. If we survive long enough, that is.
I spied my mother at the funeral. Have you ever revealed yourself to a member of your family?
No, Jonathan. And I'd advise you even from thinking about it.
Are we then condemned to lie to those we love?
We are creatures of deception, my friend. But this is more for their sake than ours.
But what if I was close to someone and wished to tell them the truth?
Fear, loathing, disgust. And then they will plead to be turned. They will see it as salvation. Then there's the risk of gaining the attention of vampire hunters.
Goodbye, my lady.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
Jonathan, please. I can't rely on anyone else. And this concerns you as it involves vampires. Someone has taken advantage of our more liberal tendencies here.
In what way?
Jonathan, I may turn my head when you or her ladyship indulge, but I will not allow this place to become a nest for street feeders.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Rest assured, I will protect you and your staff.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Hello again.
Good evening.
Do you need medical?
Afraid so.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to...
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
Goodbye, Miss... Good evening.
Evening, Doctor.
Newton is conflicted about his feelings towards you. Would you like to talk about it, Oswald?
It makes me sad and angry. It feels like the beautiful thing we have is somehow tainted. It hurts to see him so lost.
His love for you is genuine. I'm certain he wasn't lying to me when he expressed his feelings for you.
Newton still has to accept it, knowing he'll be seen as a queer, a fairy, less than a man in those simple-minded bigots' eyes. Though he's more of a man than they'll ever be, so fuck them all.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Evening.
Do you need...
Don't get me...
I'm certain... Goodbye. Good evening.
Evening.
Should be grateful for his luck instead of taking it.
Newton, don't be sorry. We'll meet again soon, and we will be serene and beautiful.
Hello again, Mr.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
You and Oswald were buried alive during the war. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It was last summer. A shell hit our trench.
How did you survive for a week?
Luckily for us, there were rations and water in the tunnel. It was an outpost, see. Since then, Oswald's not keen on being inside for too long.
Oswald seemed...
It wasn't the first...
Goodbye, Mr. Blight.
Burn it, boys!
Ain't this!
I can't believe I'm doing this. It's locked, all right.
It's one of them! No! Filthy piece of shit!
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain, and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols, or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action. Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Have you embraced this woman? Like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life. Unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital.
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long...
Thank you, my...
We have to stop it!
I cannot enter. This is despicable.
Ain't safe here. Over there! There's one of them. Stay back! Remember your vows! Cannot be defeated!
Shit, that leech is fast!
Not a good place for a stroll. Last warning, sir! It ain't you! Back to the left! Come on!
Christ! He's dead! Die, Vernon!
How are...
I'm not your...
I found the recruiter you were expecting. He's dead, but he carried a note.
I knew it! I told you I...
This note was found on a dead man, Albert. If that doesn't change your mind, then you must be ready to face the risks.
You're all fancy words, none of which concern me. Go worry about...
Have you...
Never heard of...
Goodbye.
Sort of bloody joke to you, innit?
This elixir will give you faith again.
Fancy buying?
You never... Do you need...
To be honest,
I don't quite agree, but I won't argue with you. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
really? Free? Don't take it personally.
Right then.
You...
Can I offer...
Keep your medicine.
There is a thin line between pride and...
All right. I'll...
Goodbye. Good evening. Don't you...
Faith.
No doubt your faith will...
Blessed be your gen...
I have had enough... Hello again. Tell me, Camellia, how are things? You don't seem to... Very well.
Some of us come to this world already touched.
Good evening.
And good evening.
Do you need...
It may be what...
I understand your appetite for words, and...
The nutrition of my mind is...
I'll leave... It's locked, all right. It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district.
Best run
There must
among
be more
homes, Not a safe place right now.
See how we dress? Looks like an aristocrat.
Oh my god!
Steady, boys, we've got one!